Unohana is having a flashback of her first encounter with Zaraki Kenpachi standing in the ring contemplating about her next victim. Her lieutenant runs to her and says, "There is no one that will be a formidable opponent to satisfy what you want." He turns around and looks at the pile of bodies behind her and continues, "The size of the pile of bodies is the size of your dissatisfaction," he says. She then turns around immediately and sees Kenpachi climbing over the bodies to fight anyone that stands in his way. Unohana reveals that she became bored throughout her life searching for someone that would be worthy of her blade. And when she crossed paths with Kenpachi, she experienced unparalleled joy. Currently, the battle between Kenpachi and Unohana is going back and forth, testing each other's skills to the max. Unohana reveals that Kenpachi is holding back his true strength unconsciously. She also talks about how Kenpachi barely won his battle against Ichigo Kurosaki. He also barely won his battle against the 5th Espada fighting in Hueco Mundo. This was actually intentional because of his joy of fighting on the brink of death. Unohana was the first person who rivaled his power in combat, but she was still weaker than him. Kenpachi saw how weak she was and felt extremely bad, so he began to suppress his powers while fighting. Unohana realized that if she could make Zaraki Kenpachi flirt with death once again, she can resurrect his true strength in their final battle. So she continues relentlessly slashing Kenpachi to death blow after blow and slash after slash. Kenpachi retaliated and sliced her chest open. However, Unohana quickly started to use her Kaido to repair her wounds. Unohana started to get serious and use her unique Bankai, Minazuki. She covers her blade with blood and her atmosphere was a mixture of darkness and scarlet red. Kenpachi screams in excitement and charged at Unohana. The energy exchange was absolutely amazing watching these two fight to the end. I really enjoyed the visuals that the director is displaying in these moments. As the fight continues, there was something that really stood out to me at this very particular moment. Kenpachi and Unohana's flesh has been ripped off their face, but in another scene their skin is completely together. I believe what the director was conveying in this very moment was not just a physical battle, but an emotionless, psychological battle to the death. In this scene, they were the epitome of Grim Reapers, as Grim Reaper's face is a skull, and Shinigami means personification of death. Zaraki Kenpachi finally wakes up from his mental fog of emptiness and had an epiphany that this is what true battle is all about, fighting on the edge of life. Kenpachi launched his sword through her body as she slowly fades away. Suddenly, a voice appeared out of the darkness saying that Kenpachi can finally hear its voice that has been watching him through the dawn of time. The voice responds to Kenpachi's actions and says, "Nice to meet you, Kenpachi. My name is..." And then the screen fades to black. Bro, that was definitely a cliffhanger because I really wanted to know who the heck was the voice that been lurking around Kenpachi since his youth. Interesting. Now we see Ichigo and Renji at a concert of the person that created the Zanpakutos, the Blade God, Nimaya. In the next scene, we see the personality of Nimaya that's very joyful and fun. And the way we understand this is by watching him greet Renji and Ichigo in an upside down position. It's kind of similar to a handstand, but they're on the elbows. Ichigo and Renji copied the Blade God's action, but then we see Nimaya slide in on the ground with his cell phone recording them for the TikTok views. Bro, this is funny. Mira busts through the door and kicks Nimaya in the back of the head and told Ichigo and Renji to follow her. She shows them where the hoodin is. And when the main characters walked in, they realized there was no floor, and they fell directly at the bottom. The Blade God explains that all the women that you saw earlier in the concert were Zanpakutos personified as women. He then breaks Ichigo's and Renji's Zanpakuto simultaneously. The Blade God tells them that Asachi are the preliminary blades before changing into the Zanpakuto final stage. However, the mannequins behind them are all personified as Asachis, and only has one desire at this moment, and that is to attack them relentlessly.